Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into another great debate as we try and determine who the top 50 Patriots under Bill Belichick are. There was a time when I looked at Troy Brown and said, nobody ever better wear the number 80 again for this team. Because watching him day out and day in, year out and year in, you got an appreciation for just how much he meant to the team on the field, off the field, in big, critical times. Never did I think I'd see a Patriot quite like him. I did. He wore number 11. Never should anybody wear number 11 again. Julian Edelman and Troy Brown, a couple of perfect Patriots, played their entire careers here. Edelman was a 7th-round pick. Brown was an 8th-round pick back in 1993. Edelman in the playoffs, only second to Jerry Rice. Troy Brown in 2001, probably second to nobody. And I'm going to include Vinatieri and Tom Brady in that conversation. He owned that season. So let's get into this great debate. Who should be higher on my list of the top 50 Patriots under Bill Belichick? Julian Edelman or Troy Brown? So many guys warmed to this conversation because their hearts were warmed by the presence of both Edelman and Troy Brown. Big hots. They were big hot guys. You know that. So let's listen to a few of them right now. Start out with the great Devin McCourty. Do I put Julian Edelman ahead of Troy Brown? We're behind him. I mean, this is a top 5 guy. Now, I look at Edelman, and the reason I'm going that high with him is kick return, defense, offense, playoff performances off the charts, played until the wheels fell off. But he doesn't have, like, you got Pro Bowls. He doesn't. You've been here longer. It's like, how do I come up with this? But
I do think, like, his impact is different. Like, he does have Super Bowl. He does have Pro Bowl. He has Super Bowl MVP. And I know that doesn't always tell all, because there's some other guys that have like Super Bowl MVPs and, you know, they weren't really even like full-time starters in the league. But I look at Jules and I'm just like, him and Troy, when you probably break down a lot of like the organization, you know, return, who's first, who's second, like they're neck and neck, or, you know, in a lot of those categories. I just think you pick one or two things that makes a difference. Like, I don't know who has the higher punt return average or kick return average. Like, to me, it's those little things. So I think their impact is very similar. Like, again, we're in the same thing. Like, when Jules came and played defense, what do we watch in the squad meeting of like why this is going to work? We watched Troy play defense. we watched the film of Troy out there against San Diego. San Diego intercepts the ball. Troy strips the ball out. Then we watch the next week. Troy's out there playing defense. And then you fast forward 10 years later, we're watching Jules do that. So it's just so much like the same mold. I think the impact is the same. I think it's the little things like the punt return average, or who had more. Like, I just think like the little edge like that, because what do we hear about Troy every year I've been here? His best moments were in the biggest games. Mm-hmm. Like, when you think of Jules, what do you think about? His best moments were in the big game. So, like, just from my time here and hearing Bill speak about both those guys, I just feel like it's a lot of the same things, so that, like, you have to take it and be like, all right, this guy he's edged out only because he led in receptions. Or, like, if you say Jules, you're like, well, he's second to Jerry Rice in every playoff category. All right, like, fair enough. I got to put something, you know what I mean? I have to put a little bit on that.
Here's Christian Fauria on the great debate between Brown and Edelman. Troy Brown played for 15 years. He made 1 Pro Bowl. He won 3 Super Bowls, played in 5 of them. He made oodles of unbelievable plays. Yeah. His catch on the 2001 Super Bowl game-winning drive was the key play in that drive. His participation in the block punt and the punt return during the AFC Championship game in 2001 helped prop that up. Perfect Patriot. Is he better than Julian Edelman on this list?
I think he's your number 2.
I have Vince at number 2.
I see that. I think he's your number 2. I think Troy Brown is your number 2. I know. I mean,
but I think that Vince was a better player league-wide. He was.
See, that's where your criteria, you kind of throw me with, like you say that, but okay, but is it league wide or team impact difference maker for your team? Like he had a couple really big years where he had a bunch of catches. And it was almost like he was like the first in a line of like slot receivers, because even like Deion Branch and David Givens, and then you had obviously Wes, and then you had Edelman, and I don't know,
Amendola a little bit.
Amendola a little bit sprinkled in there. But I always felt like, again, I do think, you get extra points for being a foundational guy, like the guy that like made the sacrifices, kind of set the tone. And hey, I'm a undrafted guy. Nobody gave me a chance, and that whole mentality. And
you followed Bill into the wilderness when you didn't know.
Yeah, maybe because you didn't have a choice, because, but I do think, and not because I just played with Troy, but I do think that, even with Teddy, like I think Teddy's a great player for this team. But, Troy Brown was Mr. Patriot first, wasn't he? Like the perfect Patriot
Yes,
guy.
but Troy won.
Nobody works harder than Troy thing, that every guy who retires gets that. Like if you retire and you're a red jacket guy, I call them red jacket guys. Like these red jacket guys, like they all get the same, like, exit speech. Nobody works harder. Okay. Eventually we're going to need to find out who works the hardest.
They all can't be.
They
the
all
first
work hard.
All can't be the first one in and the last one out.
No, I was
unless
there.
everybody gathers at the door.
I remember these stupid games that we would play, and it would be like, I'd be like, all right, I got to get up early, okay, and then sure enough, there's Willie. Okay, damn, I got to get up early. Okay, now I'm the first one in. Hey, why so late? Sleeping in tonight? Like it was like that's what it was. Everybody was working hard. Everybody was sacrificing.
Ted Johnson, when you talk about physicality, he brought it. How does a guy like that regard guys like Edelman and Brown? Julian Edelman.
Higher.
How high do I go?
Yeah, where do you have him right now? You have him at 20?
Yeah, he's obviously coming up because it was only one Super Bowl at that point. Since then, he has made a catch in 16. That was ridiculous, and he helped carry that team. 17, he was hurt. 18, he was Super Bowl MVP. 19, when Tom's last year, he's catching 100 balls for 1,100 yards, completely beat up. 3-time Super Bowl winner, here all that time. I'm looking at him as kind of a top 5 guy.
Yeah. Okay.
We got Brady, Wilfork, Bruschi, Brown, and Matt Light were our top 5 before.
Yeah, I mean I look at you. Let's see your top 5. I think you have Matt Light. I love Matt. I think you might have him a smidge too high.
And that's totally the bridging of the 01 to playing all the way through 11.
Yep.
And but I think that I might have to start moving him down.
Yep. I would move him down, and it's no offense to Matt. I love you, buddy.
No.
But Julian is, to me, here's the thing. What does he represent? He represents there's guys on your list that you talk about, if the best Patriots or the best Patriots under Bill, guys that maybe would take less money, guys that were great leaders, guys that bought into what Bill was selling and really were team guys. Julian, to me, is kind of that guy. He didn't ask for the most money. He didn't come in with a lot of fanfare. He was a 7th round pick who played quarterback, who had to work and earn and wasn't. At times you say, well, he should go somewhere else and make more money, but he didn't. He stayed here. So he's kind of that quintessential Bill Belichick guy that always just kept his mouth shut, wanted to be a Patriot, could have maybe gotten money somewhere else and didn't, stay there. And so to me, he's like one of your perfect Patriots. And so he needs to be, I think, in the top 5.
Let's hear from Scott Zolak. I shouldn't put Julian Edelman over Troy Brown, should I?
That's a tough one for me because, obviously I play with Troy and I think the world of Troy. I put Edelman over him. Edelman's postseason numbers.
Yeah.
3rd down catches, the punt returns. And not that Troy didn't do that. Edelman wouldn't be Edelman if it wasn't for Troy.
100%.
Never had the offense that we had.
Karen Guregian from the Boston Herald. She's been covering the Patriots since about 93. Where do I go? Julian or Troy Brown? Who do I put higher on my list?
God, that's a tough one. And also, is Julian higher than Rob Gronkowski? Because that's another interesting debate. I don't know. That's so hard. Troy Brown did so many things, but so does Julian. They played both sides of the ball. They both won a ton of Super Bowls. They were both instrumental in winning the Super Bowls. I don't know. They're pretty neck and neck. I might give the edge to Julian.
All right, so that's a wrap. And I thought it was going to be kind of hard to dislodge Troy Brown among some of the older guys. Very interesting to hear the amount of support for Jules. All right, we got another great debate tomorrow. You're going to like this one too. It's another era clash. Kevin Falk and James White. Who should be higher on my list? Join us tomorrow. We're going to bang that one around. Thanks for listening.